In 1966, the first real African-American superhero made his debut in the pages of Fantastic Four. T'Challa is the superpowered king of the advanced African nation of Wakanda, one of the first comic forays into what would become Afrofuturism. Black Panther has become a fan favorite in publication for over 50 years. His name even predated and may have inspired the naming of Huey P. Newton's Black Panther Party. And while the world of Wakanda has had bits and pieces added to it over time, Christopher Priest, one of the most prolific comic writers in America, and now Ta-Nehisi Coates, one of the preeminent essayists and political philosophers of the 21st century, have both added the most to Wakanda, and out of it built a world. This is the architects of Wakanda. Welcome to the Doomcast. Wakanda is the unconquerable, technologically advanced Central African monarchy, rich from vibranium deposits, whose leader assumes the mantle of Black Panther and ruler of its people. Over the course of the last 50 years, the world of Wakanda has been built in a sort of Tolkien-esque way, most prominently by writers Christopher Priest and now Ta-Nehisi Coates. When he first appeared in the summer of 1966 in the pages of Fantastic Four, he later showed up in Avengers in 1968. T'Challa established himself as an expatriated, or traveling monarch. Wakanda characterized itself as being justifiably xenophobic, a colonial, never conquered, an insular nation, wealthy and advanced beyond any other on Earth, and hidden entirely from the Western world. No other fictional Marvel nation, not even Latveria, has the depth or breadth of cultural history that Wakanda has now. In 2003, when Christopher Priest took over the title, he built a lexicon of Wakandan words, based in part on Swahili, Kosha, and other African languages. Tolkien relished the linguistic landscape that he was creating with Quenya, the Elvish language, and Wakandan is no different. Black Panther is the Damisasarki, the Panther, a throne established by the goddess Bast, a panther deity. His honor guard are the highly trained Hatut-Zerazi, the war dog. At the beginning of Coates' run, the Panther is initially opposed by the Dora Milaje, badass warrior women who split into a revolutionary faction, until they reunite against a common enemy in Zeke Stain, alongside the Wakandan philosopher Changamire, who wants to shift Wakandan culture into a constitutional monarchy. A constitutional monarchy led by a guy in a panther suit who can command the dead and is also a super scientist. Alright. Coates shapes an acolonial Africa, a nation with a history more than 12 dynasties, tribal tales, proverbs, philosophy, theology, government, language, and technology, not seen before in Marvel, and the cohesiveness and creativity and believability of all of this are stunning. He's included maps. Maps. I am a sucker for maps. I love world building done right, and especially since Tolkien. I love maps so much, real and fictional, but especially fictional, because it makes those places more real than even real places. This is especially good because he puts Wakanda in a very real place, on the western border of Lake Victoria, which is referred to by the Wakandans as Nyanza, which is the real name for it in Kenya-Rwandan. Yes, Wakanda is placed squarely as a chunk of Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, and probably a little bit of Burundi. Although he does have in the northern border of the nation as desert in the books, the Jabari lands, they're either larger than I think, or something went wrong with the climate on Earth 616. The Panther's powers and the cast of supporting characters are fleshed out as well. A book which, similar to Abnett's Aquaman, makes the politics of a fictional place as clever as those of Middle-earth, or Westeros. T'Challa is one of the most formidable minds and mights in Marvel. A member of the Illuminati, Avengers, the Ultimates, and one of the 8 smartest people on the planet. Like Aragorn, he can command an army of the dead, but unlike Aragorn, he can track people's souls and cut people open with vibranium blades. Now, it looks like the creative team is teasing an outer space jaunt into a separate star system called Benhazen, named for another king of Wakanda, on a planet called Bast, named for one of their gods, the throne world of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, which is the most Africa Bombata Del the funky homo sapien shit I've ever heard of, and I am entirely on board with, apropos of nothing else. Coates really gives him a heavy crown though, dealing in the first arc with revolution and in the second with invasion. Threats of the Marvel Universe on the world of Wakanda are very real. If the Black Panther film is even slightly as good and even nearly as deep as Coates' book, it stands to be, again, maybe, you know, the greatest Marvel movie ever. We'll see. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back here on the Doomcast.